Earlier today, he was caught at the Country Music Hall of Fame, pleasuring himself to a Dolly Parton mannequin. Adam Carolla.
Thanks, you guys, for coming out tonight. I do appreciate you staying late. I came early to do a pop-up set with Adam Ray, who sold this place out earlier tonight, and then just crushed it for an hour. I listened to every word. Actually, I was watching the San Francisco game, but he seems funny to me. He has been nice enough and generous enough to agree to hang out and do the top of this show with me. So why don't we put our hands together and welcome back to the stage for the second time tonight, Adam Ray.
Nashville, how we feeling? Adam Carolla, ladies and gentlemen, the great Adam Carolla.
I had a great time doing Adam's Dr. Phil show.
Yeah.
Very recently in L.A. and
you crushed it.
Well, that's all you, Phil.
Well, just take a fucking compliment, you Jew. Are you a Jew?
No, see, okay, everyone thinks I'm a Jew.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about...
Great name for a special.
Yeah. Here's the thing about stereotypes. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley. I played football. I stopped playing football. I started doing construction, and I drove a pickup truck and worked in the San Fernando Valley as a carpenter for 13 years, and no one ever mistook me for a Jew. Not one time. The second I made my way into comedy, it's like, well, you're Jewish. You know how it works. Your dad runs show business, right? Is that how you got here?
Yeah, your mom controls the weather, right? At least that's what Marjorie says. Yeah.
Yes, with laser beams. So, not a Jew. Wish I was a Jew, but sadly...
We can circumcise you after the show if you want.
We could do a bris?
Yeah.
You're
never too old to get...
The bris?
Yeah.
There's a... This is Tennessee. I don't know if they know what a bris is. I think they think it's a type of iced tea. That's where the Moyle, who's the rabbi, cuts the tip of the penis, the circumcision, the foreskin.
Yeah, to make it better.
Howie Mandel, Jew, told me a story once that when his son was circumcised at his home, keeping with the Jewish faith, they would take the foreskin and bury it in the backyard, and then
grow a foreskin tree.
Yeah. A year later.
Yeah. A year later.
No.
Siegfried
they
and Roy.
would take the foreskin and bury it in the backyard as Jewish tradition dictated, and so Howie did that. But later on that night, his dog dug it up and ate it, which makes his dog gay, in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Now, is that, where does that fall in the I need to take my dog to the vet issues? Like, do you feel embarrassed about that? Because then you have to tell the story. Because they'll find the foreskin, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You mean when the dog chokes on the foreskin?
Yeah.
I was just thinking about the bad dick breath. You know what I mean? Like, what's he been into bad kibble? No, he's eating cock, Doc.
Yeah, I always think about that when my dogs lick my face. I'm like, dude, they just licked shit or their own pussy. Like, it's like...
I know. Well, but
I love them, so I'm just like, I'm just, I don't care.
We're totally inconsistent in the cooties department, right? Because we are a society that opens bathroom doors with our sleeve and then lets our dog's shit-covered tongue lick our open faces.
Sure.
But that brings
I shared a joint with a homeless guy like 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
Yet I'm like, if somebody touches the elevator, button, and then I have to hit a different floor.
There's rules. Like, you can share a joint with a homeless guy. You can share a bottle of whiskey with a bum. But if you shared a glass of milk
with a pedophile,
pedophile. No, you couldn't share a glass. If you shared a glass of milk with Dr. Fauci, people would think you were the grossest person in the world.
Sure.
Now, tell me if this is gross because I did it yesterday. I was staying in a nice hotel in Austin, in Texas. And up on the 5th floor, there was the swimming pool.
Sure.
You always know it's a nice place when the pool's up in the air.
Sure.
And I was also kind of thinking, that's one of my things, that's a rich man, poor man. Above ground pool means you're poor, but if you can get it 50 feet in the air, you're fucking rich.
Yeah.
So I was out, and I went out to the pool, and my buddy Mike was there, and there was no one else by the pool, and I was walking to Mike, and there was a tray and a plate and lobster quesadillas on it. And I said, somebody left this, but I'm eating it. And I brought this tray of lobster quesadillas to Mike, and Mike and I both devoured it.
Slammed him, yeah.
Yeah. Now, what is that? Am I a hero for not wasting lobster? Am I gross? I've also been at Burbank Airport with Mike where someone left a sandwich and a salad behind, and Mike and I ate it.
I think if there's a
Well, that Guy Fieri shit's like $40.
Yeah, I think if there's no bite marks, then it's
It's
finders
good.
keepers.
It's kosher.
But
right?
a poolside quesadilla, I feel like it hasn't been. There's no. Was there a pube anywhere near? Like I don't know.
No, I mean just my own.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
as a garnish.
It was a weird thing because I said to Mike the next day, I was like, I'm trying to work out the morality of eating someone else's quesadilla. And then I said, who left the quesadilla? And Mike went, it was a chick. And I went, oh, okay. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then I said, was she hot? And she goes, yeah, she was pretty hot. I was like, all right, then we're cool.
That's why it was left over, right?
Right.
She probably just smelled it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You and I ate some barbecue backstage at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. And I thought to myself when I was thinking about the show tonight, I was like, I could talk to Adam about how good barbecue is. And then I realized, I think if we could get the Middle East to get into barbecue, terrorism would be over tomorrow.
You're
right?
not wrong.
If they could
You're
just
not wrong.
put a pig in the ground and the beer on ice, you know what I mean? Like if we could just get them culturally
Dude, we could solve
into barbecue.
I think Hamas would have no issues if we could get them to suck down some Zimas and some brisket.
I would. It would cure everything.
Yeah.
But of course, they're miserable because they don't have barbecue.
They don't have good stuff.
Barbecue makes everyone fucking happy
Dude, they
all
don't have,
the
They don't
time.
have PlayStation or YouTube. Yeah, they're fucking. What are they doing?
They're killing.
They're eating.
No, they're angry because
Yeah.
there's no fucking barbecue.
Yeah.
That's really what I've surmised from
Yeah.
this whole thing.
Well, you guys are. Is Nashville considered the home, like the mecca of BBQ? No. Do you got Memphis? Yeah, and that's not too far, right? What is Tennessee's kind of? What do you hang your hat on item? Hot chicken. Okay.
But that's just a temperature in front of chicken. You know, you really
Yeah.
think about it, you can have hot rolls, you can have hot salsa.
Yeah, you can heat anything up.
Yeah.
Guy Fieri taught me that.
Yeah, I think they make it into a sandwich, right? Is that the thing? And spicy? I don't know. I think you need more than that. I just don't feel like poultry is really enough. You're too
To put
great.
you on the map.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're too great a city for that.
It is wild to be like so known for having created so much musical talent and this being like the place where people come. You know, you can play at the airport, be discovered. Then food. You guys just like we just put it in the microwave, and that's our claim to fame for the.
Yeah, Johnny Cash would be really pissed off at that answer. Like, what are you guys really known for? Stuff you can get where you're from.
You ever had a cold Pop-Tart? We do things backwards here.
But it's hotter. Adam, I know you do lots of great voices.
Sure.
I was watching you and watching your set, seeing I know we got Joe Biden
Sure.
now on there. I had a Joe Biden joke for you, which is, and maybe I can't do the voice justice, but I was thinking about it, and remember everyone was accusing him of being too old? And like, you're too old to run the country.
Yeah, everybody said I couldn't do it. Everybody said, hey. Everybody go, hey, we gotta look at this guy. Everybody say, hey, and I always say, hey, good old. Hey, how about it? Hey, we did it. Look, we beat Medicare. We beat Megatron. We got upstairs jobs. I remember back in the day when you were a kid, you could go get milk.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you could eat foreskin out of the backyard, right? Or, and we don't have enough jobs? Come on. Hey, would an old guy be able to do this? Come on, Kyle worked at McDonald's. What'd you do?
I would say if I had...
Who just shit my pants?
If I had Joe Biden, if I was in the Joe Biden camp and everyone was accusing him of being too old, I would just say, Joe, maybe you should stop weaving the word malarkey into every conversation.
Yeah.
I don't see the skateboarding kids yelling, you're full of malarkey, bro. Like, stop saying, just stop. Well, let's start with, do not use the word malarkey.
Yeah, what should I use instead then? Come on, it gets people's attention. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
What else
don't use 22 skidoo.
How about ragamuffin? Huh?
No, don't do ragamuffin for kids. Don't do malarkey. Do not put on your raccoon coat and jump in your Stutz Bearcat. None of this stuff.
Can I go as Barack Obama for Halloween?
Oh, I think they call that problematic now, John.
This guy over here, huh? You're a ragamuffin over here.
I liked it when Biden was yelling at that guy during, I don't know, it was like 10 years ago, and the guy was giving him some shit, and he challenged him to like a push-up contest.
Awesome.
And
Such a classic old man move.
He just called him fat. He's like, hey, listen, fat. Which I like was, you really cut to the chase.
Yeah,
right?
you really do. Yeah. Well, there is a lot of power in the quick, because usually it's like, fuck you or cocksucker. It's usually like a two-banger.
Right.
But there's a lot of power in just like, you're fat, or you cunt, like there's something about just a one-word, zinger.
No, you're right.
Hearing Biden call somebody a cunt could have maybe flipped the script for him.
Yeah.
Because Trump obviously goes so hard in the paint,
Yeah.
But Joe just being like, this is a bunch of fat malarkey, didn't really do much. But if he was just like, you stupid cunt, fucking Pelosi over here, huh?
Yeah, he should have called Pelosi a cunt. I agree with you, and I know, thank you, and I know...
Yeah, what if he just came out of the game and was like, where were you on January 6th, you slippery dyke? What if he just fucking went hard in the paint? Maybe he'd still be running, who knows?
I think in 2024 that would work. I think
people
the
are
old
lightening up.
Joe, yeah. Also, putting your name next to stuff that doesn't work, like Bidenomics, you know what I mean? Like it's... Putting your next like Biden AIDS, Biden Katrina, Biden Rust, like don't put your name in front of shit that's not working. Should have put Trump there.
Yeah.
I also know I saw, so Adam crushed it on Kill Tony. A lot of people saw that, and I saw Tony last night.
All right.
And I went and did like a pop-in at Rogan's Club.
At the mothership. How'd you like it?
Yeah, I talked to Tony for a while.
It's my Tony Hinchcliffe. Some people don't know who that is. That's why people are...
But it's super funny because it's dead nuts. It's dead nuts on.
Yeah.
And you're getting pretty wide with your impersonations.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. Like really exploring all
Right.
these characters. And I don't know if it gets... Is doing characters like killing prostitutes, it gets easier as you go? Like my first or second one, I had some moral trepidation, but by the time you get into the low teens, it's called Tuesday.
Yeah. I've always said that. You're doing characters. By the time you put the third gal's face in the pillow, you know what you're doing. You put her fat right in the pillow.
It's really, I think it's just like anything. You just get reps of doing enough stuff to where you just maybe gain a little bit more trust in yourself to throw darts and try something. I mean, even on the show tonight, I never had done because some Kill Tony fans after doing Biden are asking me to do a Kamala, and I was like, for multiple reasons, not going to because of, the hair and blackface, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, or Indian face, right? Which one is it? Which one are you? Are you going to be like Mike or bend it like Beckham? Who are you, sweetheart? Snoop Dogg or Slim Dog? Pick a lane. And then I was like, all right, well, if I did try a combo, it's just kind of like, along with the hands right here and kind of a shaky mo, and then, just like, I worked at a McDonald's. And then Trump's like, I went to every McDonald's. I talked to Grimace. She wasn't there. She's a liar and a loser. She's never had a McNugget in her life. She's a Wendy's bitch.
Trump is kind of the Grimace of presidential
Totally.
candidates.
Oh,
He
yeah.
really
You can
is.
definitely equate, like, McDonald's characters to presidents, for sure.
Yeah, I did. I realized the allure of Trump many years ago when I did the Marriage Ref. Do you remember that show?
Love that show, yeah.
The
Seinfeld and Tom
Seinfeld
Papa.
produced it. Tom Papa, comedian, did it, and it was me and Trump and Gloria Estefan from the Miami Sound Machine.
Dude, marry, fuck, kill. I'll go first.
It's all the greats.
I would marry Carolla for the financial stability. I'd probably, you gotta fuck Trump for the story, right? I mean,
Gloria's had a good run.
Yeah.
And so we were backstage, and we're getting ready to go on, and I'm looking at Trump, and I'm looking at Gloria Estefan, and I'm thinking, well, I think I'm going to have to pedal this comedy bike here. And that was before Trump was a comedian.
Right.
Trump was Trump, but he wasn't Trump the stand-up, And Trump just said to me, but I'll tell you what he did to America. He just came up to me and he goes, Adam, this is going to be the #1 rated show of the night, and it's going to be their highest rated episode they've ever done.
Wow.
And I was like, why? I'm on it. And he goes, trust me, that's going to happen. And I was like, really? And he's like, check the ratings tomorrow, #1. And he slapped me on the back and he walked away. And I was like, my God, I feel good for the first time in my life. Like, I actually felt good about myself.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure we were 23rd in the demo, but it didn't matter. For that moment, he made Adam Carolla great again. And that's when I got the allure, slapping everyone on the backs, telling everyone we're back, we're going to be #1, I'm going to build a golden wall, no Mexican can penetrate, and we all sit around going, yeah, let's do it. But that's what he did to us.
He instilled he truly...
You know what he's like? He's like when you're really drunk and it's way too late and one of your buddies goes, we're going on a road trip. And you go, it's fucking 4 a.m, Brad. And they go, fuck it. Gas up the van. We're going to Pahrump. And you're like, what? Come on, get a case of Schlitz. We're going to Pahrump. And for 5 minutes, you're like, this is the best idea I've ever heard in my life.
Or the guy who's just done coke for the first time, and he's like, we're going to Cabo. You're like, dude, we don't have a car. We'll swim there, dude. I'm a good swimmer.
Fuel up the jet. We don't own a jet, Brad. Fuck it. Here we go. And for that fleeting moment. Now, look, you guys are going to end up off the side of the road with a DUI and blood coming from your forehead. But for that one moment, you're like, this is the best idea I've ever heard in my life.
Dude, Trump as a stand-up would be unbelievable. I know he did the roast and kind of fired back, but I literally would pay upwards of, I don't know, $100,000, $1,000 to see him just come up, and I'm assuming that at least his opener or closer would be, knock, knock. Give me that. But I think his play on words is way funnier than than he gets credit for. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
He really is a kind of a. Even I just heard him talking today. I think about Pete Buttigieg, and he goes, Buttigaga, and he just went out of his way to butcher it. And I was fucking dying. He was like Buttigaga, Pete Bukaki. I was like, this guy.
When I did Celebrity Apprentice, our final task was a
Go
stand-up
get me a
show.
McMuffin, right?
I had to roast Trump
In the final gag.
in the final task, and he was just standing. I was at the edge of the stage like this, and he was just standing right there with his
So
arms folded
awkward.
the whole time. I thought he was going to have me killed. And I had a couple of Trump jokes. I said, people ask, what's Trump like in real life? And I say, picture Don King, but with crazier hair and a broken moral compass. And he's just standing there not laughing the whole time. And then I said, you got to see the hair in person. It's alive, it undulates, it breathes. I said, you ever see footage of an underwater kelp bed? Clownfish darting in and out. Didn't crack a smile, but that was the assignment on the very last. And by the way, Trump never fires back with this, but on Celebrity Apprentice, they always accuse Trump of being, homophobic and racist. The final two were Clay Aiken, black, and Arsenio Hall, gay.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. I don't see gay or black. I don't see colors or jizz.
Clearly.
I don't see any of it.
For
but
sure.
the point is the last two,
Yeah.
He didn't pick the guy, the biker guy. He didn't pick Dee Snider. He didn't pick me. He took the black guy and the gay guy. That would be my argument if somebody said to me, you're homophobic and you're racist. I'd go, what do you mean? I picked these.
Yeah.
I picked the faggot over there and the jigaboo over there. Give me a break.
Come on, yeah.
Come on.
I love too when Trump says. My favorite thing is when he'll say like, people don't realize that he'll kind of like, I do it for you. Everything like I literally heard him about a month and a half ago. He was like, everything I do it for you. And I was like, dude, that's Bryan Adams. That's a Robin Hood theme song. And then I was like, I don't think anyone realizes he's slowly inserting 90 song lyrics into his speeches. And then I'm like, dude, devil's advocate, I would pay attention way harder if he was up there talking about, like, healthcare or the putting up the wall. And he's like, look, all I got to say is if you want to be my lover, you got to get with my friend. That's just what I'm saying. I'd be like, dude, you got my vote. That's all you got to do. Bring back the Spice Girls.
Oh, God. Any other characters we can think of before? I know Adam has been very generous with his time. He has.
I love you.
His father-in-law's here, right?
My father-in-law's never been to Nashville. He turned 60 today. Give it up for Bill Bennett. He's in the back.
60.
He's a fucking living legend. What is the thing to do? Now, we have one weekend in Nashville, which feels like the start to a horror movie, but who's been here so long? Like, who just really knows this place inside and out? And I'm looking at some people, I'm looking at some ponytails and some mustaches that look like they've seen some shit. Say it again? Roberts is what? Is that a grocery store or a glory hole? What is that? It's a who? It's a classic country bar. So go there, yeah. You guys have like a zoo? What's it called? The Nashville Zoo? All right, you don't have to be a dick about it. I was just trying to make small talk.
Yeah.
You know why I love the zoo? Because the animals are so happy. That's probably my favorite part. You go to the zoo, the animals are just like pumped to be there.
Yeah.
No one's picking up on my sarcasm, by the way.
No, they hate it. I was thinking, I interviewed the guy recently, and he was nice, and he's a country music star, and he lives out here, but nothing says Nashville less than Keith Urban. He's got an Aussie accent. He's married to Nicole Kidman. Like, there's no...
He kind of looks like a woman, too.
There's nothing... He's got 4% body fat.
Phenomenal
He's polite.
shape.
He's been sober for 13 years.
Boo.
He respects women.
He's the opposite of Nashville.
He's the opposite of Nashville. He loves his kids.
He likes cold chicken.
He likes that Aussie cold chicken. He drives a foreign car.
Ugh.
There's no cow horns on the Cadillac.
No.
There's nothing.
He watches Nicole's movies with her.
Yeah.
He's like, you were so great in the hours.
Yeah. You're
You're so good in those AMC commercials, sweetheart.
Who is less Nashville than those two?
Diddy?
Yeah, I guess Diddy.
Diddy might be the least Nashville guy we could think of right now. By the way, so jealous I didn't get a Diddy freak-off invite.
Oh, me too.
Let's be honest, wouldn't you have gone? I mean, now it's almost like the Playboy Mansion, I feel like, where it's like, God, just to be there, just to see what it's like, Just to see Ashton Kutcher do that thing with that kid, just like to be there. Oh, it's coming out. But, just to be there.
There's probably a handful of guys that did the circuit. You know, they did Epstein's Island. They did P. Diddy's
Oh, my
freak
God. I
off
didn't know what you were
party.
getting at. That's
you know,
hilarious.
Like Bill Clinton has hit the trifecta. Like, yeah, I boned a chick on the Long Island Lolita or whatever, Express or whatever. He's like, I did a chick on the island. You know, he's got another compound in Arizona. Boned a chick there. I was at the freak off party. It's like, there's got to be a handful of celebrities. Like, you know, I would say in Hollywood, you want an EGOT, right? You want an Emmy and an Oscar, and you want a Grammy and a whatever. I mean, that's fine. But there's a sexual EGOT.
There is.
Out there.
Yeah, it's the Epstein
Island, the Diddy's.
I don't know, the Jared from Subway.
Jared
maybe?
from Subway.
What do you call that, an EJ?
Yeah.
That's what he called it.
There's got to be a handful of guys that hit the trifecta.
Yeah.
That's all.
Almost
I'm
like
saying.
doing that when you go to a brewery and you get the flight of beers.
Right. Yeah, you hit them all.
Now, you know, I wonder, so do you think Diddy took a page from Epps? This is the first time I've asked this question. But, you know, obviously Diddy came after Epstein. So, like, do you think he saw or heard and was like, the same way that, like, you're hosting a party and you're like, oh, well, Pam got these plates from Walmart instead of Best Buy, or, you know.
I just like the fact that we now...
That sounded better in my head. All right, keep going, Adam.
Right.
Yeah. Dead silence, one guy being like, I was with you.
I like the fact that we're living in a time when the door is wide open to the craziest conspiracy theories on the planet.
I love it.
After COVID, after Russian collusion, after Epstein, committed suicide, after people that come up to me and they go, Oprah's running Mexico right now, don't you? And I'll go, I don't know that, but I don't not know it. Like I'm listening.
Yeah.
Like literally, there is no theory that can be floated where I go bullshit. That's out.
That Oprah Mexico one is true because that's where Trump got the idea to be like, you get a paper towel, you get a paper towel, you get a paper towel.
I was trying to work on this joke. We'll see if it works, but it was P. Diddy. They were talking about all the stories was how he sat in the corner and pleasured himself while they were getting down, and I was like, well, that sounds pretty regal, pleasuring yourself. How come when I do it, it's called beating off? What I mean? It's so fucking
And it's just me and a laptop and a sad website.
Yeah. When I do it, it's called beating off. But when Diddy does it, he's pleasuring himself.
Yeah, when there's a game of Twister in the corner, it's all of a sudden fancier.
Yeah, okay. His Highness is sitting on his royal throne, stroking his scepter, And then I started thinking, it's just nice for beating off, pleasuring. And then I thought, cuisine is just nice for food. It means the same thing, but it's just cuisine. And then I thought, brothel is just nice for whorehouse. But I thought, I would much rather be caught pleasuring myself in a brothel while eating cuisine. I feel people go like, well, that's Adam. He's doing his thing. But if I was caught beating off while eating food in a whorehouse, people are like, that guy needs to be canceled immediately. This is way out of trouble.
He wasn't even with a girl. He was just in the lobby eating a McGriddle.
He likes hot chicken that much. All right, Adam. I know you got to celebrate with your father-in-law. So put your... But
I do want to... I got to ask, though, these... Whose McDonald's fries are these?
Oh, they brought... I work... Well, here's the thing about Kamala and McDonald's.
Careful, because I worked there for 45 years.
It's a little... It's got a... it's a little... it's shrouded in mystery, is what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is you asked me, Adam Carolla, if I ever worked at McDonald's.
Adam Carolla, did you ever work at McDonald's?
Yes, I worked at McDonald's. It was 1980. I worked at the McDonald's that's in Studio City on Ventura Boulevard. My manager was named Ken. He was a large man of color, and his favorite saying was, time to lean, time to clean. I did sweeps and mops of the dining area, and I also worked the griddle where I made Big Macs. And when I made the Big Macs, I would ask for the cheese count on the Big Macs, and they'd go, give me 10 Big Macs, and I'd go, cheese count on Macs, please, and they'd go, cheese 3, please, and I'd go, thank you, and then I was done making the Big Macs. I would put them up on the counter, and I would say, burgers up, wrap, please, and I did that in the summer of 1980 for 3 months before I returned to North Hollywood High, and again, Studio City, Ventura Boulevard. That would be my fucking answer. Not, I may have worked at some McDonald's somehow at some place. I would give you the fucking address of it and tell you, you can go check. And Ken, my manager, is still probably working there. And if you call me a liar, I'll sue your fucking ass. That's what I would say, because I did work at a McDonald's. Yes. Yes, I shall autograph that.
Let me ask you this. What's your McDonald's order, my man? One Big Mac?
Ask me if I fucked Britney Spears.
Mr. Adam Carolla, how many times did you fuck Britney Spears?
Well, I did, but I can't really recall. It's a little, the details are vague, but I did it.
Wait, now ask Donald Trump if you've ever fucked Britney Spears.
Mr. Donald Trump, is it true that you did not fuck Britney Spears?
She's a nasty woman, I'll tell you. She shaved her head. She looks like Jada Pinkett Smith. And I don't fuck guys. And as you know, she's a wonderful woman, but a nasty woman. Take your fry bag, you fucking poor guy.
Adam Ray.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Love you. Great job. Safe travels. All right, the great Adam Ray. He didn't have to do it, but he did it anyway.
Morgan and Morgan. Life can be a little crazy sometimes, and one person's negligence can result in another settlement. So if you're ever injured, check out Morgan and Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Over 100 offices nationwide, more than 1,000 lawyers, more than $20 billion recovered for 500,000 plus clients. Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting to get you a full and fair compensation for your injuries. That is Morgan & Morgan. Going on the road, doing stand-up, well, that could be hard, but submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan, that's easy. It's Morgan & Morgan. Right, Dawson?
If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Adam or dial #law, #529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/Adam or #law, #529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly offers friendly, helpful service and the parts and knowledge you'll need for all your maintenance and repairs. I've always gone to O'Reilly. I used to live up in the hills in La Crescenta. I'd go to the one up on Foothill. Still there. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in-store or online, so you'll never have to worry if you're in a jam. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free in or out of your car, which is nice. You don't have to pull it. If it needs to be replaced, they'll help you find the right battery for your vehicle. Need your windshield wipers replaced, brake light fixed, quick service, they'll help you find the right part or point you to the nearest local repair shop for help as well. Whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you'll find the team at O'Reilly knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, friendly. So, the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto, do-it-yourself, and you can find what you need in the store or online. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
All right. Our next guest is a very funny commentator. He's a sports expert. He does conservative radio as an attorney. Clay Travis is with us. And a local a local hero, I would say.
Hero defined very broadly, but I appreciate that.
As well. Clay,
Yes.
always a pleasure to see you. Thanks for coming across town.
Yes.
And spending time with your brethren.
I'm dressed up. I know I was going to get made fun of because I did Sean Hannity's show about an hour and a half ago. I'm going to immediately go to Asheville, North Carolina tonight. So we're going to be I do a daily radio show with Buck Sexton. Some of you will know. We've got an affiliate in Asheville, so we're going to go raise some money this weekend. You mentioned that I'm a big college football sports guy. I'm also excited to go to the Florida-Tennessee game this weekend. So I don't know how many Tennessee fans are in the crowd, but I'm a big one.
You're taking a helicopter to Asheville, right?
Yeah, taking a helicopter to Asheville. I guess the airport, I was told, is shut down. So we're going in from East Tennessee. They're going to take us over the area that all got flooded and everything else, and then I'll land.
There's got to be a better way to communicate on helicopters than the headset. I just figure it's 2024. Close the door. Roll the windows up. Let's have a conversation.
I thought you were going to make a Kobe Bryant joke.
No.
Too soon? Too soon?
No, I was going to make a Van Zant joke, but I'm not going to. No, I wasn't going to. I can't think of others who died in a helicopter. But no, let's not. No bad juju.
I'm anti-death more than anybody that I know. So
how long is this helicopter ride for you?
So I'm supposed to take off. Has anybody been? I bet a lot of people here have been to Pigeon. Have you ever been to Pigeon Forge?
3 times in the last 5 days, but no, I never have.
So Pigeon Forge is the most redneck vacation place in America.
I'm listening.
And I feel like, I'll give you an example. So I'm born and raised Nashville, which is somewhat of a rarity. And
you should try the hot chicken. I hear it's to die for.
When we were kids, we would go to Pigeon Forge on vacation, which is right by Gatlinburg, right by the Smoky Mountains. Mm-hmm. And there were several things that kids would love. I'm not kidding about this, my 2 favorite things to do, they had a concrete pit, and they put bears in the concrete pit, and you could feed them. And so that bears are a big draw in the Smoky Mountains. Like, you'd want to go see a bear. They would have live bear signs. I don't think they do this anymore. And you would go in the back, and they would give you a banana, and you would throw bananas at the bears in a concrete pit. And every now and then, an old redneck guy would come out with a hose and just spray all the uneaten food into the garbage there.
Right.
That was amazing. It's the greatest thing ever when you were a kid. And they also would say you can't feed the bears by your hand, because people would try to feed the bears from their hand, which didn't always go well. That existed. The other one was, and these still exist, they will give you buy a bag of dirt. Have any of you done this? If you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. They call it a gem mine, G-E-M mine, with running water. Uh-huh. And from a bag of dirt, you dump your dirt into this pail, and you stand there and look for gems. And if you find them, they will buy them from you. So it's kind of like the redneck version of diamond in Africa.
It's essentially a sweatshop for white people.
And yes, and if you find something that's valuable, somebody comes running up and they're like, "Oh, that's a ruby. I'll give you $24." You know, and then they probably go sell it for $2,000. But those were the 2 things that you would do when you were on 1980s if you went on a redneck vacation.
It is insane what we used to let kids do, right?
Oh.
Versus this sort of sanitized bubble wrap. There's a helmet for everything.
Yes.
When I was a kid, there wasn't a helmet for anything. I would see people riding motorcycles with football helmets on just because that was about all they had.
What about, did you guys have, when you were growing up, and I bet a lot of people here did it, do you remember the world's finest chocolate?
Yeah.
Think about this business plan. It was, we're going to give you buckets basically of chocolate, and all of the kids are going to work for free.
Yes.
And they're going to walk around and sell chocolate bars, and you were slave labor.
That was my greatest shame. My greatest shame is I played for the East Valley Trojans, and I played 7 years of Pop Warner football.
How were you?
How was I?
Yeah, as a player, how would you assess yourself?
I was kind of dominant for a while.
You were a big kid?
I was super coordinated, and I had good balance, and I could like ride a unicycle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I just was sort of quicker and better than everybody.
What position did you play?
In Pop Warner, they just put me at nose tackle, and I would just disrupt the plays. You know, I played linebacker and guard and what have you. And then what ended up happening is I was like really dominant, and then puberty kicked in for everybody else. Now, I got pubes, but that's the only part of puberty I got. I didn't get the triceps and the biceps and the veins, and all these other guys started going into manhood, but my dad is basically built like a wet mop, you know, and I just kind of, you know, and so then I struggled, you know, after that, but football was the only thing I was good at, so I was a bad student. So then I did some kind of vision quest thing in high school where I just like drank 6 raw eggs for breakfast, and I lived in the weight room, and I forced myself to be an all-valley football player in high school, even though I was never had the physical ability.
But that's a
to
big
get
deal in
past
California because the players are probably pretty good, right?
Yeah, I got recruited to play at Marshall and like UC Davis and Cal Poly
That's
Pomona.
a pretty big deal to be a
Poly
college
San Luis
football
Obispo.
recruit.
I did get recruited. I said, you know what? I'm going on to a construction site and digging ditches. Enough to your education, I said. But yeah, I was all Valley, and I was best defensive player and that kind of stuff at some point, and then it was over. And all it did was make the fast free fall from the long hard climb that much worse when I ended up on a construction site, you know, eating a burrito on a pile of drywall 9 months later and digging ditches for a living. But I had a prime, and that was high school.
So did you fall? Were girls impressed by your football playing ability in high school?
No, because I was a big kind of meathead, you know, and women, they don't say it, but they like spindly guys. Women like guys where no means no, because I'll throw your skinny ass off the balcony. You know, not the big meathead guys. Yeah. It's always the little, all the pop stars and all the guys that they're always miniature little Davy Jones from the Monkees and stuff, or Keith Partridge. You know, they're always waif models. They're little puny skinny guys, which piss off the star football players because we're working in the weight room all day and then playing Friday nights, and then she's going home and blowing the guy's 135 pounds soaking wet because his hair's cool, you know.
Is there a guy in Hollywood that gets chicks that you're in disbelief that they consistently get chicks?
Okay, I'll give you guys. I thank you, Clay. I shall make my point. One of the quiet but legendary cocksmen, and I don't know if that has anything to do with your cock, but that's what we call him. One of the legendary guys is David Spade. David Spade has never been married, has no children, has been quietly boning hot blondes for 37 years. David Spade is 5'8" and $137. That is my point. Sinbad doesn't get any pussy.
Yeah.
David Spade. All right, so I was playing for the East Valley Trojans 7 years. I played as much Pop Warner football as you can play. I started at 7, and I went through into high school from Pop Warner. And every year they would bring out that box that had the chocolates in it, and they would have a little miniature manila envelope for that, you know, and they'd go, all right, it's $1 a chocolate bar.
Right.
There's 12 chocolate bars. You go sell this. You put $12 into this thing, and 2 weeks from now you return the $12, or you could return $9 with 3 chocolate bars in it. Well, I had a hippie health food mom, and I was I grew up hungry, man. I grew up like a ravenous raccoon in the dumpster of life. Like I was just anything I could get to, I was tearing apart. Okay. So to send me home with my goddamn Billy Jack watching granola mom with a brick of chocolate and have it like just sit by my bed at night, you know, and I'd put my head on the pillow and I'd hear, Adam, like the parquet container talking. Come over here. Just look around. I can't eat you. If I eat you, I don't have $1. I don't have just have a bite. That's all right. You can make it up. You got 11 days. You'll be cool. And I'm like, no, leave me alone. Let me sleep. Adam, come on over. Just say hi. I'm so lonely over here. Oh, I have these wonderful nuts inside of me and this wonderful chocolate. You just have the one. That'll be fine. You'll get $1 somewhere. At some point, I would eat 7 things. I was not a salesman. I would sell like 1 to my neighbor, eat 7, and then it was the walk of shame, which is I had to return the box now.
Yes.
I could never do the math. My busted-ass parents would never make me whole again, and I'd have to do this thing where like there was $2 and a half-eaten bar at the bottom of the thing, and I was like, is that good, Mrs. Whitman? Well, let's see here. You ate. These are gone. How much money? You have 12. No, we have $2, and here's a filling.
Yes.
You know, like I was always humiliated because I couldn't pull it off.
Do they still do that? I don't know, but I always was amazed by that business. Some of you probably have kids. I don't know if they finally outlawed it, but it was amazing that they had essentially legalized child labor when it came to selling candy bars.
The worst is Girl Scout cookies.
Well, that's a total...
I mean, does anybody work in an office setting where you got the dad pimping for his 9-year-old daughter? Like, they come in on a Monday, it's like, what can I put you down for? Like, what are you doing? Selling Girl Scout cookies for my 9-year-old. I don't know, box of Thin Mints? Just the one box? They're giving you the guilt now, right? Like, yeah, give me a case. Give me a pallet of Thin Mints, you asswipe. Like, they're literally selling these things in bulk, you know, and they go, you know, Tammy and her troop has sold 26 metric tons of this shit in the first 5. And I'm like, listen, I'm not here to keep your daughter's 9.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Pay for her orthodonture and leave me out of this.
I think it's like $20 a box now, too, by the way. Have you noticed this? Because they knock on our door every now and then, and in the way that every price of everything costs way more than you think it should. I've got 3 boys. And every time I go through Chick-fil-A, it's over $50 now. Oh, yeah. And I just think to myself, how is it possible that the cost could be what it is? Everything in America costs, it seems, 20 or 30% more than it actually should in any kind of reasonable world, including the Girl Scout cookies of late.
I went to El Pollo Loco. We don't have hot chicken, but we have crazy chicken where I'm from. We have chicken that escaped from an institution. We have insane chicken. I don't know why the Mexicans think this is alluring. You have criminally insane chickens you want me to eat?
Yes.
Hot chicken, fine. We have crazy chicken, El Pollo Loco. And I went to El Pollo Loco like 3 weeks ago. I just got a couple pieces of chicken, and I got like a chicken bowl for my son. I didn't buy any drinks or anything. It was $28. I'm like, I can't, you know, now I've turned into old dad, so I have to like keep repeating how far a quarter went and all this kind of stuff. And I come from super poor people, so you may have gleaned from earlier conversations from tonight. But it's brutal how expensive stuff is.
Yeah.
Although, you know, we make a good living, but it still sucks. But you do think about people that are just making an honest living. Like, I mean, when I was swinging a hammer, you know, I was doing, my best was $15 an hour. Like, this stuff would have been... You know, I'm from L.A. Gas is $5 a gallon. You know, a burrito is $14. Like, that would have devastated me.
I mean, when I go to a sporting event and see what they charge for beers,
oh my God,
I can't believe that it's real. The prices feel like you're getting
by the way,
punked.
that's how you know you're an alcoholic. When you go up there and you're like, I'll have a Ducati. That'll be $26. Let's do it. It's the greatest scam in the world because they get to go, the reason we have to charge you $25 for 12 ounces of Tecates to keep people from not... Oh, really? It sounds like you're here to fleece alcoholics.
And does anybody think that they're not making enough money on everything else? I will give credit. I think it was Arthur Blank at the Atlanta Falcons. The prices for food are reasonable inside of the stadium, and they asked him why, and he said, I own the stadium. We make a lot of money off seats. We make a lot of money off suites. We don't have to absolutely just gouge every single person who wants to buy a couple of beers to watch a game.
I like Arthur Blank because he looks like an old-time carnival barker.
That's a great
Like,
description
that's
of him.
how people used to look. You know what I mean? He probably uses the word malarkey.
The fact that you've got Arthur Blank humor is so nuanced. Did you hear? They had Hurricane Milton came through. I don't know how many of you saw this, but they had a guy doing a stand-up talking about how, look, the first half of the storm had not been that bad. This was on the Weather Channel last night. I was flipping back and forth between baseball.
Not doing stand-up comedy.
Correct.
I just didn't want people to think the guy from the Weather Channel was doing a tight five on the hurricane.
He was in the middle of the hurricane, and he said, look, the first half of the hurricane has not been that bad. I'm paraphrasing him. You can go watch the video. But he said, everybody remember what happened to the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl?
Right.
The second half, they had a 28-3 lead, and they fell apart. Tom Brady and the Patriots came back. And I was watching, and everybody just kind of nods along. The next guy comes on the weather. He's like, that's a great point. You know, we don't know what the second half of the storm's going to be. And I couldn't stop thinking, some poor Atlanta Falcons guy.
Right.
You know, it's been 8 years since they gave up that lead. He's watching Hurricane Milton coverage. And then out of nowhere, maybe it was Arthur Blank himself owning the team. Out of nowhere, you just get astray and just get wrecked over your performance in the second half.
Oh, they could have taken a knee 3 plays in a row, kicked a field goal.
The whole second half, and they would have won.
The game would have been over.
Sorry, Falcons fans.
Yeah. I was just lamenting about this the other day, not because I like the Falcons, it's just I hate the Patriots. And I think, Clay, you'll probably vibe with this, but I did kind of put my finger on why I hate Patriots and Patriots fans and people from the Boston area. I was at the Super Bowl when the Patriots beat my Rams for their first win.
That was the huge upset when they started the dynasty. That was in New Orleans, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Huge upset to start the Brady dynasty.
Yeah. And I was sort of agnostic about it, even though I'm a Rams fan, but the Rams had won a Super Bowl, and the Patriots hadn't, and the Patriots have always been snake-bitten, and they got embarrassed by the Bears in '85 and destroyed, Grogan, and I liked their uniforms. I was like, when they won, I was agnostic about it. I was like, all right, the Patriots, they're a snake-bitten franchise. They finally got a win. I don't like that it's over my Rams, but if anybody, I'll take the Patriots. And then when we went out that night, this is the difference between the Patriots fans and all the rest of us. All the rest of us, if our team won, would just be celebrating the victory that night. Patriots fans had to find Rams fans to make fun of them. They had to mock them in their best Mark Wahlberg voice. And I realized, that's the difference. Even in victory, you're miserable. They were literally miserable in victory, and they had to find fans of the vanquished team and verbally assault them.
That is a perfect analogy of the East Coast in general.
Yeah, it is.
Because this is, like, you're here in Nashville, and this is where I'm from, and I would say geographically, everyone on the East Coast thinks in order for them to win, somebody else has to lose.
Right.
It's like you got one pizza, and there's only 8 slices,
right.
And if one person gets that slice, you're fucked. What I liked about the West Coast was, this is my theory on how to describe the different regions. On the West Coast, they're like, we'll just make a bigger pizza. Right? And so everybody's kind of chill, gets along. On the South, in general, people are like, no, you take the last piece.
Right.
It's actually a very friendly culture. East Coast culture, I think, transcends into sports because everybody's an asshole.
Yeah.
Everybody on the East Coast is an asshole because it's crowded. If you haven't spent any time there, you're only 2 hours apart from Philly and New York, right?
Right.
Boston's 2 hours more.
Yeah.
You're pretty close, but there isn't enough space or things for everybody there, and it translates into sports. I've got a question for you on this.
Yes.
My oldest son is a sports fan, but only to root against teams that he hates. So, for instance, my middle son is pretty good, except he happens to be an Alabama Crimson Tide fan. My oldest son doesn't root for anybody. He just roots against Alabama. So all he does is hate. What does this say about him? I'm curious how he's 16, how would you psychoanalyze basically anti-fandom as opposed to actual fandom?
Well, he's going to make a great publicist one day. We'll say that. So he's got his future laid out for him. I will say this as a father of a 18-year-old son. What happened to them just doing what we did? You know what I mean? Like when we all grew up going, well, my dad was a fan. He was an Islanders fan, so I'm my dad was my dad was a mechanic, so my dad, whatever, fill in the blank. It was just, my dad used to fish, so he made me, and then I went fishing. What happened to this generation of like, screw dad, I'm not doing anything you've done or want you to do. I wanted my son to play Pop Warner football. I was like, every lesson I've ever learned was on a football field. It was the only thing I was good at. I had a horrible childhood, but I got a lot out of playing football. And I wanted that for my son. He's never put on the cleats. He's never strapped on the pads. Maybe knee pads, blowing one of his friends. But, well, I want to be specific. He doesn't care that I call him gay, by the way. He's fine with that. But I like cars. He does not like cars. I like football. He likes watching football, but I wanted him to play football. Yeah, there's no part of him that's following in any footsteps of mine. And it used to be just sort of baked into the cake, right? You just go, well, my dad was a taxidermist and a serial killer, and so here we are.
This ties in with my theory that, I don't know how many of you watch The Matrix. I bet everybody in here. You know, it's been 25 years since The Matrix came out.
Wow.
And so in that movie, it's set in 1999.
Right.
And remember, it's 200 years in the future. And they said, why did you set it in 1999? And they said, that's because when human civilization peaked. What is better? Good question for you. I'm fascinated people out here. What's better today than we had in 1999?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, obviously,
right?
well, we have innovation, but the innovation just leads to addiction, essentially. Also, like we have smartphones, but that just means more time staring at your phone than being outside.
And if you went back to, let's say, the 1950s, much of what they had in the 1950s we have now, right? You could get on an airplane and fly cross country. You could go to Europe. It's not like you had to get in a horse and carriage.
Right.
Since 1999.
All right, I'm going to make
what is better?
Yeah. No, I'll make your point or partially make your point.
Better.
I will add to your point.
Yes.
When the Beatles came here in 1964 to do Ed Sullivan, they were on a Pan Am flight. And it took them 5 hours to get across the country, or 5 hours to get from the UK, or 6 hours from the UK to New York. That's what it took. But they're on a Pan Am flight. They had hot stewardesses. They had hot food. They had champagne. They had a reclining seat.
They might have had a bar.
They had a bar. They had everything. I will be on Sunday leaving Philadelphia and flying back to L.A. It will take exactly as much time as it would have taken the Beatles in 1964 to get from Philly back to LAX, except for I will get a sack of something called Fiesta Mix thrown at me by some he-she with an attitude. That's the difference.
Yeah.
That is not an upgrade.
Correct.
And if I slap the he-she on the ass when they're walking by and go, looking good, how about you freshen up that cocktail, I will be taken off the plane in zip ties.
Yeah. This is my concern, is that we're talking about that from 99 to 2024. What if that Matrix movie was right and basically we're just sort of stationary? Another good example, 1969, we went to the moon.
Right.
Everybody in 1970 would have said, oh my God, by 2024, people will be living on the moon, will have been to Mars.
Right.
We have to have Elon Musk get our astronauts back from space right now.
Yeah.
Because NASA's so incompetent, they can't even go to space consistently anymore.
I don't know why, but I was fixating on 1960s stewardess outfits.
They're hot.
Like,
they're really
vinyl
hot.
white go-go boots, mini skirts, a bouffant with a 9-foot hat. It's like, nothing says ready in case of emergency like 4-inch heels.
Yeah.
And suede, like, really, what could they have? Back then, by the way, air travel was much more dangerous than it is now.
By far.
You got a 23-year-old waif model in go-go boots and a crop top. Who's she gonna save?
She's going to save the sex life of a lot of middle-aged men on that plane, probably.
That is right. You're right. Nothing is better.
I mean, just think about it. I do think, because to your point, you talk about your 18-year-old, kids don't even want to leave the house now.
No.
I mean, if you remember, everybody in this audience just about, when you were old enough to get your license, it was the greatest day of your life. And it wasn't only you. It was, you would do birthdays, and you'd be like, hey, my buddy gets his license in November. He's got an early, our lives are going to be so much better. They don't even care to get their licenses to be able to go anywhere.
This is a crazy phenomenon. Like, for us, it meant freedom, right? For them, they want the freedom to sit in air conditioning and watch a flat panel television and 500 channels. Like, they are not motivated.
They don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah, I was so anxious to get the hell out of my house that I was just counting the days like a prisoner waiting to be paroled for my driver's license. Like, I was there on my 16th birthday. It was a big deal.
And if you failed, you were crushed at the idea that you might fail your driver's license. You have to persuade kids now to even be willing to get a learner's permit or license. And some of it is better because they don't engage in as much risky behavior, but also they're so afraid of the world that they don't want to leave the isolated little fake worlds that they have built. And I don't know where it leads, but it is kind of scary to think about where they're going to go, both literally and metaphorically.
I think we're all just going to turn into obese hermaphrodites. I think that's where it's going. Just morbidly obese, one sex, wearing slippers. I mean, you see people at the airport wearing slippers.
Yeah.
Now, I see people in their pajamas.
Yes.
I go to LAX at 8:30 in the morning to catch a flight to Houston, and people are wearing their pajamas. They got like their Huggy Bookie. They're walking around. Just the airport from what it was when the Beatles landed, guys all wearing blazers with their monogram on it. And what we see now, when you see LAX on any given Wednesday at 8:30 in the morning, it looks like, and I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but you ever stay at a Holiday Inn and somebody pulls the fire alarm at 4 a.m. and you see guys out in the lobby and the guy's got like one flip-flop and a boner and he's like, when can we go back up? The fire marshal says, and he's in like sweatpants and he's shirtless. That's what LAX looks like. And then the scariest part is there is a long line, and the long line is not at the duty-free place, and it's not at the bathroom, which should be duty-free. Sorry, you ruin it for the rest of our travelers. But the long line at 8:15 in the morning is Jersey Mike's. Literally fat people in pajamas, 45 humans long, at 8:15, waiting to get a foot-long pastrami. It's like, Jesus Christ, what is going wrong with our society? No wonder you're morbidly obese. You're eating a sub sandwich at sub 9 a.m., and you're on a sub sandwich, and the line just goes around the block for that place.
Oh, I mean, I flew Spirit Airlines recently.
What is a worse name? You know, Spirit Airline, or when someone says we have to garnish your wages?
Well, and I'm not trying. Yeah.
Garnish your wages sounds like you're going to get a piece of an orange slice by your check today. It doesn't sound like the old lady's caught up to you and she's taking the child support, right?
Yeah, and that's. I fly Southwest because I live in Nashville, and they just go everywhere. So it's not like I'm some sort of airplane diva.
You got a lot of range. Helicopters and Southwest.
I tell my wife it's important to cover both range. You fly private or you fly Southwest. You got to you got to live the extremes. But for Spirit Airlines, first of all, I don't even know how this is possible, but I showed up. I got my boarding pass. You have to get like a bag ticket or something. I get to the gate. And the woman won't let me on the plane. And she says, "You aren't checked in.
You are not fat enough to be on this flight, sir." Sir, where's your Jersey Mike sandwich? Okay, go ahead, step aside for me.
But I worry. I don't know if you think about this sometimes. I don't want to make a scene because I don't want somebody walking around with their camera being like, "Oh, look at Clay Travis losing his mind at the Spirit Airlines, desk."
Sir, you're wearing leather shoes.
Yeah.
Please step aside.
But I said, I was like, you gave me a boarding pass. I said, it's right here. You gave me a bag check. How can I not be checked in? And she was like, "I'm sorry, you're going to have to rebook." And I rebook Spirit. I don't want to be here for 4 days. I just want to get the plane is here. I can walk right on. And I had to ask for a supervisor. But because the person was a moron, eventually they let me on. But before I asked for a supervisor, because of the world that we live in now, I actually looked all around me to make sure that nobody had a phone out.
Right.
Because I'm like, this is going to go, somehow I'm going to look like a total dickhead because I'm asking to speak to a Spirit Airlines supervisor because they won't let me board. So you can now be in the world where you've done nothing wrong, but you know this. Somebody clips 30 seconds of you in a public venue in any respect. This could be anybody. And the next thing you know, you're a viral sensation, biggest asshole on the planet.
Yeah, I flew Spirit, I think, once, and a couple things. By the way, Southwest, I don't know what their slug line is. Their motto is "Wish you." What was that? What was Southwest? What is there? Wish you're somewhere else or something like that. They used to do those commercials.
Yeah, I know
right?
exactly what you're talking about.
They should just say we're not Spirit Airlines. That should be on the tail fin of everyone. I remember flying Spirit Airline and go, "I'm just going to recline the seat." And it's like, I don't think I'm reclining. By the way, it's always bad for an airline when the seat flex is confused. Like, am I reclining or is this just bending? Is this metallurgy going on here? Like, by the way, when you're 300 pounds, all airline seats recline.
Yes.
I can tell you that. Here's how you get them to recline. You exhale and put your slippers up. But yes, we are spiraling.
Yes.
The toilet of life. I had, speaking of airlines and bad help, because this is a contagion at this point. Like it is everywhere. It's a virus. Young people have horrible attitudes, and they don't think they work for you when they're at work. And when I was leaving, we were leaving LAX to fly to Austin 2 days ago, and I have Clear. And I got my Clear ticket, my Clear stuff, and I went to the Clear line, but there was nobody there. But there were 2 women who worked for Clear and 1 guy who worked for Clear, and they were just standing and talking.
Yeah.
And I said, is Clear open? I guess it's not open. And so some people got in the TSA pre-check line, and people were just getting in line, doing, whatever moved. And then I was with Mike August back there, and I was like, I don't know if Clear's open or something. And at some point, we said to the 3 Clear people, we go, "Is Clear open?" And they go, "Yeah, but we're talking about lunch." I said, "Well, is everybody at lunch?" And the 2 girls were like, "No, just us 2. But the other fella, is he at lunch?" "No, he's not at lunch." would he like to entertain the notion of possibly doing his job? And by the way, I thought you went to lunch. I didn't know you broke down the game film. I didn't know everyone took a knee and we broke off and had a discussion group about lunch. You just go to fucking lunch and tell that guy who's talking to you about the majesty of lunch to come back and help the other people. Did not give two shits that we were waiting in line at Clear.
I've got another story for you that you would appreciate.
Please.
We landed recently, and the gate that they bring out was 6 inches too low.
Yeah.
That is, instead of being directly level with the thing.
Yes.
It was 6 inches too low.
The jetway.
The jetway broke.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding. Like, it's literally not as bad of a step as a normal step would be.
Right.
Everyone is in line trying to get off the plane.
Right.
They have the person there saying, you cannot exit the plane.
Right.
And I thought that there was going to be a riot on the plane.
Yes.
Here's the question. At what number would you have been comfortable following off? Because they would probably, it's like when you storm the field, you don't want to be the first guy who storms the field because you might get tackled. How many people would have had to exit before you would have been okay with also exiting?
I would have just got a running start, dove on one of the beverage carts, and just gone full Evel Knievel.
Because I couldn't, like, we're standing there 6 inches. They're like, no, you can't step off. And I said, can we sign waivers? You know, to what extent of the risk are you willing to allow us to undertake to exit the plane?
You reminded me, I was flying with Dr. Drew 25 years ago. We're flying back from Tampa. And I was sitting in first class, and they had the overhead bin, right?
Yeah.
And the overhead bin, they would shut it, but it wouldn't latch, and the pneumatic opener would just bring it back up again, right? And then they'd shut it again, and it would slowly start opening because it didn't latch. And I was just sitting there in first class sort of watching this ballet of retarded people, you know, like monkeys, you know, trying to get a ping pong ball through a garden hose or something, you know, and struggling. And I said, well, the overhead compartment appears to be empty. And they go, yeah, it is. And I go, well, why can't we take off? And they said, we can't take off until the door is latched.
Yeah.
And I said, why? And they said, because items may fall out of the overhead storage and injure people. And I said, yes, but there are no items on there, so perhaps we could just take off. And they said, sir, we can't take off with the door open.
Yes.
And I said, well, I get the rule, but that's the spirit of the rule is so things don't fall out. But if it's empty, then we should be free to take off, unless somehow this affects the landing gear. I don't design aircraft. And they said, sir, sit down. You know, we're doing our job here. And so I said, why don't you just take some duct tape and tape it down?
Right.
If it physically just needs to be closed, or I can hold it during takeoff,
Yes.
you know? And they're like, sir, I was like, just use some duct tape and hold it down here. We've been here for 40 minutes. Sir, maintenance guy comes in. He's got, you know, the paperwork. He's futzing around with the screwdriver. More maintenance, more filling stuff out. More. He keeps trying to shut it, keeps creeping back up again. And I keep going, we should just put some duct tape on it, hold it down so we can, sir,
What did the
please.
maintenance guy say? Was he appreciating the help?
No. After an hour of sitting on the ground, he comes out with the duct tape.
Of course.
He pulls off 8 inches of duct tape. He sticks it. I'm watching the whole thing going, okay, hello. And then, of course, the stewardess is standing there, and I go, he puts the duct tape on, and she leans in and goes, shut the fuck up. You don't say a fucking word. You say a fucking word, you get no cocktails. She was
Really?
so, when that tape was going on, I was sitting there with a shit-eating grin, taking victory laps around
As well you
first
should.
class. All right, should we put our hands together for Clay Travis, everybody?
Thank you, guys. Hey, Keep up the good work. He's fantastic.
Always excellent, Clay. And Clay, wait, pick your mic up because tell people you have a fantastic radio show and Outkick and all the other places
we're
we see you.
on 12 to 3 Eastern, 11 to 2 here every day, 500 stations, all 50 states. We're raising money this weekend, Florida-Tennessee game at the Yeehaw Brewery downtown Knoxville, and I'll be all day live tomorrow in Nashville. And hopefully we'll be able to help people who are struggling there. I need all the help with karma I can. But seriously, Adam is phenomenal. I've been a fan for a long time. And by the way, the football game ended up being phenomenal in there for anybody who is a 49ers or Seahawks fan.
Oh, don't tell me who won. But the game,
it was
we had the game
fantastic.
on in the
Great
back.
game. Yes.
All right, I want to thank Clay. I want to thank Adam Ray for coming out. His stand-up special, Adam Ray, live from Comedy on State. And until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Adam Ray and Clay Travis. Say it. Mahalo.